to infinity and beyond.
Everybody, it's Roger James here from Infinity and Beyond, and in this episode we are going to be discussing some of our predictions for upcoming E3 show from Nintendo. So obviously not necessarily connected with Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, etc. though we do. Wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing a few things popping up on the Nintendo one, but straight off the bat I'm going to give a few of my sort of suggestions and sort of predictions. Obviously, ARMS and Splatoon are on the show floor. They're going to be showing them off. They're the next two big games coming out, so there's going to be a heavy push for them too. Super Mario Odyssey. That's just straight up. We know it's going to be coming there. I would not be at all surprised, and I'm going to if we have a surprise August or September release of another Wii U. Ports that we've not known, either Super Smash Brothers Deluxe. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull that, or if they just go Super Smash Brothers Switch, or Mario Maker, or Donkey Kong Free. I think there's going to be another games August, September, another port. There might even be a couple of ports announced. I know they don't want it to be a Wii U port machine, but I think it's a good, strong way of getting some characters in there and stuff. And then they're going to, because I think they said they're primarily focusing on 2017 primarily. That's their Prime Go.
Right. I certainly would appreciate them to release some more Wii U games, considering I never had the chance to play any Wii U games. I don't think that if they're going to release Smash Bros, it'll be this year, because they would have wanted to hype the heck out of that, even if it's just a relaunch of the Wii U version of the game. I think that is in the cards, but I don't think it'll be in the cards for this year, because either an upgraded port of that or a brand new Smash game is going to be huge. Yeah. Because Smash has become pretty much their biggest franchise, with Zelda overtaking it thanks to Breath of the Wild. But yeah, I could definitely see them announcing some sort of port. Mario Maker seems like an interesting one. But with Odyssey also coming out,
they might want too much Mario.
They might want to hold off on that. But they've got plenty of games on the Wii U that they could port over that people have not played. So
I mean,
I'm not sure what. Again, you could say like Hyrule Warriors or something, but if they've got Fire Emblem Warriors, they're not going to want to take away from that. So
it just feels like every sort of 4 to 6 weeks we've got a release at the minute, and I think we're going to see a few more 3DS kind of the last drips of that. We've got the Kirby games and a few other things, support for that for another year. But as more and more games come over, whether or not we get a Pokemon game announced.
I mean, that is the big rumor right now, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I do think if they're going to turn around and say, 2018, we've got Pokemon and Super Smash Brothers, that would be a good selling point. Going, there's still some big games coming next year, because I think they kind of have to come out with that. But then at the same time, they can do a quick port now and boost up their game library, and then kind of say, it's that same thing like with Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe out now. Doesn't mean that we're not going to get another Mario Kart 9 in 2 years' time. They could easily do that.
I'd be perfectly fine with that.
So in some ways, like with Super Smash Bros., it would make sense some way to release it now. You get all the amiibo sales, but also then go, we're going to, it doesn't mean they're not going to release one in 2-3 years. What have they been working on the last few years? I still think there could be a fair few old ports just to pop over to the game, boost up before Mario. Whether or not there's anything new, any new franchises, stuff like that, I don't know. I mean, it does feel like the game, every time on my Twitter feed at the minute, there are more and more indie games, more and more third parties announcing stuff. There's even rumors of a Call of Duty port happening. To be honest, as much as this Wii U port stuff, I feel like they've only really got that opportunity for another 18 months, because people will be willing to take that at the minute. But in 2 years' time, they can't just port something over. I don't think it'll have the same impact. But that gives them time to work on something else. It also wouldn't surprise me if we get Virtual Console announced, I think actually Virtual Console will launch E3, and then they will start getting dribby drabs, a weekly dribby drab of content for the next 20 years.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the Virtual Console is one of the big things they need to get behind, because that is actually one of the things that I was sold on getting a Nintendo again. I had some Virtual Console games like way back in the Wii. I won't be getting those because they have no way of connecting between the two because, they're still completely backwards in terms of that kind of thing. But they need the Virtual Console, and it does provide weekly content as they update games over and over, and they've already got an entire backlog to update to the Virtual Console from the Wii and the Wii U.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in that zone where they are going to have to come out and be like very much like port, because you need to make it look like this game is more than a Zelda machine, and if you don't want it then going too much down the line and go, oh, well, it's just a port machine, I've already got a Wii, I don't need any of this. But at the same time, if every week there's like, Pilot Wings is out this week, and next week we got, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me as well if we saw a Pikmin game announced, but I think, to be fair, this year, if they can blast out those Wii U ports, get them out there, so you've got a choice of it, and then they will turn around and go, in 2 years' time, well, now we've got sequels to them, the proper sequel.
Right.
They can do that. There's that kind of, per console, we can only have one Super Mario, the game. They can do more than that. I mean, we've also got this Wabbits game that could be coming out September time with Mario as well. That's been leaked all over the place. So that could easily be that September game. But generally, I'm very excited about this year for Nintendo. Right. I think they're going to come in strong. But I'm also kind of expecting them to be very much like, they sort of said in their press release, we're telling you about 2017. We might get a sneak peek or two at a few things for 2018, but I think it might primarily be pushed on Mario and what's coming in the next 6 months.
I think the thing that will be interesting is to see if these rumors about Pokemon Sun Moon getting ported over to the Switch pan out at all. Largely because we've never had a mainline Pokemon game on a home console. They keep the RPGs on the handhelds, and then like Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Coliseum are the games that come out to the to the consoles. And what would be interesting about this would be kind of a signal that Nintendo is embracing the mobile half of this.
Yeah.
And it would definitely be all right, well, we're still supporting the 3DS. There'll still be some stuff coming out on it, but we consider the Switch to at least be partially the successor.
Well, I mean, I very much look at it like the stuff that's coming out for the 3DS in the next year is everything that's been pre-Switch launch. This is stuff they've been working on, stuff that's going to come out. Any new development is going to be Switch only. I can't believe, and also they're going to put all their teams onto it now. So, like you say, I think in some ways they've got some big franchises that they can, and they want to spread them out a little bit. But also they want to get some out there because, like Pokemon Stars is a combination of Moon and. They're obviously the team will be working on something else. So
right.
They've still got, in 2 years, 3 years' time, we could have brand new Pokemon games coming out. But if it's a port, an up-res version of it, they've only got a short window, I think. But at the same time, we're going to need something announced in February, April, March, May. I think that's about as far ahead as we're going to get. But, if they get some big titles coming in, I think that's going to be a good thing. Because sitting here now, like ARMS and Splatoon, I'm gonna get Splatoon. I'm gonna see what ARMS is like in the test demo next weekend. But I think that they know that the trouble is with that Wii. They don't want to shove out too much Wii U ports, but they also have only got a limited time to do that as well.
I think they need to take a cue from Marvel on this one, Marvel Disney in general. They were in a very similar situation following the Disney Infinity cancellation, where they're just kind of like, well, we got nothing, so here are some ports. Yeah. Here's, the Disney Afternoon Collection. Here's Aladdin and whatnot from the Sega Genesis. And people were willing to do that, but if those were coming out at the same time that full releases were coming out, if, they wanted to do some Star Wars backwards compatibility, the window was before Battlefront, or in this case, before Battlefront 2. And Nintendo is now in that same position. So
yeah, I am really hoping that the Virtual Console, we start seeing, DuckTales, Aladdin, Lion King, we get all them franchises coming back, and some Nintendo 64, the Mickey's Racing, things like that. So I'm kind of really hoping we can start seeing some of this. I mean, even not being funny, but if they manage to get Super Mario Sunshine, get that out in June, that would be a massive boost for the system just by bringing out some of these older games. But from a Disney side of things, I'm hoping that there. As far as Nintendo Disney predictions and stuff like that, we've talked about it in the past. We know we've got Cars, we know we've got Lego. Wouldn't surprise me to see some other bits and pieces, and I think in general, Nintendo Switch is going to be the new family games. Every family game is going to be on the Switch regardless. So,
right.
Generally, I think I'm really excited about. I'm a lot more excited over what Nintendo are doing on their system than Xbox, and I think in some ways it's even Sony, because the thing is with Nintendo stuff is that it's a Super Mario. You're only going to play it there. That's it, and that's the difference.
And I think not just that. A Nintendo system is always sold on the backs of Link and Mario and Star Fox and these guys. I would like to see a Star Fox game, by the way, but I don't expect one. But I think a lot of what we're going to see at E3 might not actually even be Nintendo itself. Yeah. I think the bigger news for the Switch will be the number of publishers going, this title is coming out for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch. It might be not as good a version, the graphics will be scaled back. It might not come out at the same time like we're seeing with Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Yeah.
But just seeing the number of publishers who go, there will also be a Switch version. Or, maybe Call of Duty World War II isn't coming out on the Switch, but we are bringing some of our back catalog titles to the Switch. To keep with Call of Duty, whether or not they actually go with it, you might see a Black Ops collection of the 3 Black Ops games. You might see the Modern Warfare collection. You might see, last year's Infinite Warfare might show up, something like that.
Yeah, definitely exciting for that one there. We talked about the Xbox and PlayStation stuff before, but Nintendo's in a very different position. They are primarily now, they have positioned themselves as the handheld of choice. They have got it. They are going to put all their eggs into that one thing, and they're going to push it. I think the Switch is kind of coming into this E3 as the hot new toy. Microsoft might have the big powerful thing, but Nintendo are kind of going, "It's me, Mario," and everyone, Mario.
Nintendo has their selling point. So Microsoft and Sony might be in a war for who can produce the most pixels on the screen at the fastest frame rate and so forth, which is great. The hardcore gamers and the people who really are into gaming are definitely yes, 4K resolution at 60 frames per second with 3D motion, all that stuff, which is great. But there are a lot of gamers out there who just don't care. They want to play the game, and fun. Mario is the game, Breath of the Wild is the game, and it doesn't need to be in 8K resolution or whatever. They just want it needs to be a good game, and Nintendo has proven time and again they know how to make good games.
Yeah, and I got to be honest. I think I think they're going to be. I think Nintendo are kind of in that position of, because they've now become the handheld. That is put them into a different position, because they can deliver high quality games, but because it's a handheld as well, they're offering something that Microsoft and Sony aren't. And there might be lower games in terms of quality, in terms of looks, but generally, I think they're going to come in strong. I think it's going to be a good year for them, and I think they're going to surprise us. I think it's that thing of I was thinking predictions. It's trying to predict Nintendo is hard. I mean,
they keep it so close to the vest. It's actually weird when we get announcements we knew Breath of the Wild was coming several years ago and stuff, and that's unusual. Yeah. More often than not, we know about Nintendo titles, whether they're new or re-releases 6, 7, 8 months in advance, and that's what we're used to with them.
I must admit, I think as well, because they do the way they do their Nintendo Directs as well. I mean, literally, the ARMS one broke last week for out of nowhere. So it's just good. I'm really excited about what's going to be coming up, and I just in general, the Switch to me is just about fun. and it's become my I think it's going to become my multi-platform system. It's just a shame if they don't do day-and-day release. That's the only issue that's going to slightly issue me.
Right.
I've got at least 2 games this year already. That's kind of like, actually, no, there's 4 games I want, and it's like, well, if they're all coming later on the Switch, which is I'm not very good at.
Yeah, we talked about this in the Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 podcast from earlier in the week, and it's like if this came out on the Switch at the same day that it came out on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, I can tell you flat out the Switch would be the version I would get.
Yeah.
But because it's not coming out those days, I will instead get it on the console or PC, and when it comes out on the Switch, like, I've already got that game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it should be interesting. On that note, guys, what do you guys think? What are you expecting to see from Nintendo at E3? Let us know in the comments below. As per usual, you can hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest episodes from us. You can also check us out over at DisKingdom.com. You can also find James over at HeroicLegacy.com. And on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. See you guys soon. Bye.
Later.